Howdy, hello, and welcome back. Today is a special Q&Slay video to celebrate the birth month of Sajay. So welcome back. As mentioned, today we are doing a Q&A video. It's just a Q&A. We like to call it Q&Slay to make it fancy and bougie, but it's just simply a Q&A. I put on my Instagram and social medias to send me some questions that I can answer. This is kind of honestly just a lack of time. I was supposed to be doing a preferred video or a becoming video. However, I've been a busy gal. I've been doing the preferred stars, the preferred few. I've been doing filmings for YouTube's bookings, birthdays, looks for birthdays, and looks for looks, and looks for the preferred stars. It's been a lot. So with the lack of that, honestly, just work as well. We're just going to do a cute little Q&A video. I haven't done one in a hot minute. The last one I actually did was the Becoming a Ghost video, which was a hot moment. We're not going to look at that. You're not going to go back and research that. We're just going to keep moving on. So yeah, we're going to redo that. And also we're kind of dipping into the waters of newer news, because the official Q&A segment of newer news is going to be called Q&Slay, and it's going to be getting its own little intro song and all that good jazz. So this is kind of like a little dip into the waters of that. So make sure these questions, as mentioned, came from a little bit of a couple of social medias. So on my Instagram, I posted a questions poll. I also posted a link for like an anonymous question asking in case people didn't want to share their names. And going through these, there were a few that I wish they would have shared their names, because they were like really good questions. And out of the time frame that I picked or opened these submission/polls for questions, all of them were picked. So we're going to get into it. And I think this was over like 3 days. So we're going to start with the Instagram one, because they actually had their names in it. No tea to the anonymous people, but we like the people who share their names. So the first one actually comes from someone named Court, who actually was in attendance at the very first The Preferred Stars. So hi, hello, thank you for coming to that. And thank you for asking a question. But it says, how did you decide on your drag name? So this is actually a funny little story that I think I mentioned in the very first video on my YouTube, which was almost 2 years ago now. But my drag name actually came from a homophobic math teacher in high school. I used to wear makeup in high school, dabbling. I was a theater kid. I was exposed to drag. And we were dabbling in some makeup, and he would always be like, oh my God, Sage, like that's not girly enough. Can I call you Sajay? And he did this in front of the entire class. And I literally got up and I was like, well, I actually prefer that. And there, Sajay preferred stuck. A lot of people think I've had a lot of like prompts or asked to change it, because it's hard to spell with the tick. A lot of people forget the accent. I call it the little eyebrow and the E, especially because out of drag, when I don't have my eyebrows filled in, they're literally just like that. But anyways, the accent, a lot of people can't put that on flyers for some reason, and it's kind of triggering to me, because Sage is my out of drag name. So whenever I see Sage on flyers, it's kind of like, whoa, Sage isn't preferred. I prefer Sajay. But anyways, that's not the point. And then also pronouncing it, a lot of people struggle with that, but I literally say it's like Sajay, like Shantae Sajay. Anyways, but yeah, that's where I got my drag name from, and I low-key stick by that story, and I stand by that story, and I will never change my drag name because of that. And also, preferred is such like a catchy little, you can do so many things with that. The preferred, I mean, look what I've done. The preferred few, the preferred stars. So many. They may not be able to say my name, but they know preferred from something. The next two from the Instagram polls actually comes from Natalie Scott Couture, who was actually a contestant in the very first round of the Preferred Stars. And stay tuned, because the contestants for the third round of the Preferred Stars are actually being announced this week, and you might see her name pop up. But anyways, the first one comes from her, and it says, do you have any inspirations you've pulled from to create your drag persona? If so, who? So this one is actually kind of interesting, and I actually kind of get asked this a lot, but the answer is not really. I don't really like act or like have a persuasion of persona from any like inspiration. If anything, when I say inspirations or when I'm asked about inspirations, I always mention my brother. My brother was doing drag when I was very, very young and literally used to style wigs while watching Drag Race on me. So that's a huge inspiration, that he's literally the reason I started to do drag. But when it comes to like persona, or like, I don't really have a drag persona. Like, my drag is kind of just me times 10. When I'm in drag, I'm a little bit more spicy. But whenever it comes to like inspirations, Dolly Parton, I always say like, if Dolly Parton and Elvira had like a lesbian child, that would probably be me. But I don't really look like Dolly Parton or Elvira, so yeah, no, not really. And then Natalie also asked another question, which I lived for so much, so I had to include it. And it says, what are some goals you want to accomplish, and what are you most proud of so far? So some goals that I want to accomplish, honestly, as of now, one of my biggest goals was to start a drag show in where I'm living, which is the Birmingham/Hoover area. And not only did I get in the Birmingham area, I actually got in the Hoover area, 5 minutes down the street from my house, where I work, which is incredible. So that's probably what I'm proud of the most. The preferred show in my home bar was a huge achievement of mine that I loved. And honestly, when it comes to like goals I want to accomplish, I have a few things. Like, I really want to like expand my drag and start doing like quirky things that I'm not really used to doing, like headpieces. I haven't, if you clock the most recent look, you know, she's getting into some new things. But goals, my biggest goal so far for this year is to perform more out of state. So I guess that's something that I want to accomplish within this year. So if you are out of state of Alabama, I am living in Birmingham, Alabama. I will still take bookings in Alabama, trust and believe. But if you are looking for a queen, hold up. If you were looking for a queen and you were, ignore the drag room. If you were looking for a queen who does, you know, she can do a 1-2 step, and you are in, you know, a surrounding city and would like to book me, just reach out. That's definitely a goal that I want to accomplish soon. But that's an amazing question, Natalie. Go follow all of her socials. I don't think she has anything posted, but that's not the point. She's an incredible entertainer, and I cannot wait to see what she brings. And the preferred stars coming soon. So the next question is, so excited for you to be a part of Our Founding Mothers. How is your experience being Amy? And that is from Our Founding Mothers, the Instagram productions page. And this is a huge opportunity, something that was also on my goals list. I want to perform in a lot of like big cities in Alabama. And one of them, actually, one of the only two that I was missing was Huntsville, Alabama. And I literally got booked through Dolly B. Wellington to perform in Huntsville for Our Founding Mothers, which is like a celebrity impersonation show. This is such an incredible show, such an incredible moment. And I get to play Amy Winehouse, which is like, has been a huge person in my drag repertoire. I do a lot of Amy Winehouse. As of now, when this is being filmed, it has not occurred. So make sure to get your tickets for Our Founding Mothers at Shenanigans in Huntsville. Super excited to do this. So far, the experience has been incredible. They have been so helpful, so beyond welcoming, and I cannot wait for this opportunity. I am so excited, so excited. I literally am going to practice in like 2 days for it, cannot wait for this opportunity. The next question is from Dolly B. Wellington, actually, as mentioned, the person who reached out and booked me for this incredible opportunity, and it is, what is your preferred fragrance? So I am a huge fragrance girl. Like, I think drag, a part of your drag persona is having a fragrance. And Fawn actually literally just posted a post about this, and I commented on it because I'm like, my drag Delulu persona, you know what I mean, lives through my drag fragrance. And the bougie expensive version of my drag fragrance is Marc Jacobs Daisy. And I actually have these little mini ones of it, but they're actually on a display shelf. However, Listen, queens out there, entertainers out there, hookers out there, listen. So, if you go to Walgreens or CVS, they make these incredible, look, get into it. They make these incredible, it's not going to focus, the light is too bright. They make these incredible, like, inspired scents, and this one, as you can tell, is inspired by Marc Jacobs Daisy. Smells exactly like Marc Jacobs Daisy. If not, it smells better, to be honest. But that is what I have been obsessed with. Marc Jacobs Daisy is like $60 for a small bottle, and I actually work at a place that sells perfume, so I get a discount, but it's still not even worth it. I only get the actual Marc Jacobs Daisy or use the ones that I have if it's like a pageant or a competition or like, you know, a debut of a show. The first night of the Preferred show in Dothan, I used Marc Jacobs Daisy. Point being is, though, these are incredible. And then recently my friend just gave me this, which is like amazing. It's called Amazing Grace Philosophy. And this is too expensive for me to buy, so I'm not going to be buying it. And at first I hated it, but I literally wore it today and I'm low-key like kind of digging it now. Point being of all of these is that I like hooker scents. So my preferred scent is anything hooker and not sweet. I hate a sweet scent. Sweet scents are like disgusting. Vanilla? No. If you smell like vanilla... So that's going to wrap up the ones from Instagram. Besides the anonymous links, which I saved for last. The next ones are going to come from like close friends who like send them through text, so on and so forth. And one of them comes from my coworker through actually the place where I get perfumes for discounted prices. But they said, what is your biggest fear? That comes from Abby. My biggest fear, honestly, is probably jail or prison henny. Prison henny. But no, genuinely, no. Especially in my state, in this world, in my little dolly shirt, my vintage dolly shirt with the, no, honey, prison, no. The next one comes from another coworker, Kayla. I love this question. Favorite song to perform? Mine of yours is Pretty Girl Rock. Love that. My favorite song, I do love performing Pretty Girl Rock. I think I've performed that mix that mix specifically that you're talking about. Ding. At least 3 times by now, and I literally made it like 2 months ago. But anyways, I don't know. Here You Come Again by Dolly Parton is a go-to. Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn is a go-to. Yeah. One of those. Probably one of those. But Pretty Girl Rock, that's a good one too. The next one is from Gina. What's the best drag show you've ever been to? So the best drag show I've ever been to... You know, I'm going to say the Latrice Royale one when I went with Amber to Owls. I don't know, that presence was just, yeah, it was nice. It was living. The next one comes from Amber. What education can you give to people who are fighting against the trans existence? So, honestly, my thing is just to, you know, as a trans individual, my thing has always just been to live myself fully. And, I don't know, not to quote RuPaul, but... You know, she always says, if ain't paying your bills, pay the no mine. And that's kind of how I definitely feel. Like, you know, the people who are against, you know, my existence as a whole, and the people who are in my existence and had to be scared of those people, that's just disgusting. And I think, you know, live your full tea. If someone comes from you, come for them even harder. So the next one comes from the anonymous people. And like I said, I wish some of these low-key would have put their names, because even the first one says, how many tattoos do you have? And then it says tour. I'm not going to give a full tour, but I don't know. So let's count and go through. I guess not a full tour, because some of them are a little too low. But the first one I ever got was this Aries one. So that's 1. And then I got the constellation. That's 2. My birthday. That's 3. The heart on my middle finger. That's 4. The Holly bush, because my mom's name is Holly. That's 5. This is my brother's name in Korean. That's 6. Got milk cow tattoo. That's 7. These 2. That's 9. These are my little ghost tattoos. And then I have 2 more on my knees. That's 11. So I have 11 tattoos. And you can see most of them except for my knee ones. But it's because I'm wearing shorts. So, the next one is, why are you obsessed with cows? Which literally, as mentioned, I have the cow tattoo. Honestly, I was a kid and I had no friends because I went to a school in the middle of nowhere where it was very rednecky and southern Ozark, Alabama. So during the summers, if I wasn't spending time with my cousins, I was spending time at my granny's house, and she had cows in the back, and I had no friends, so I used to name them and take care of them. And I was 12 then. Ever since then, I've been obsessed with cows. Have not eaten cows since I was 12. If you go into my room, I don't know, maybe I'll insert a video, maybe not. It's literally covered head to toe in cows. I don't know. I've just always been obsessed with cows. I refuse to eat them. Now for like 2 years now, I think I haven't ate meat as a whole, but that's more so like a texture thing. But yeah, I haven't ate cows since I was 12, and I've just been obsessed with them since then. Favorite wig you've done? And this is an interesting one because this is coming from someone who knows I do wigs, which is not, something a lot of people know. I don't feel like getting up and grabbing one, so I'm just gonna insert one here. And I'm gonna say this, and it's actually my finger right there. But anyways, insert the picture here. Yeah, this wig was a very like tiny like cat wig that my brother gave me, and I made it into this huge like 80s bang moment. So yeah, probably one of my favorites. How many cats do you have? I have 2, a boy and a girl. The girl's name is Aries, and the boy's name is Sid, and he is a shithead. The next question is, why the only preferred? So I'm assuming this question is reference to like my socials, and honestly, it's because you can't do an accent in socials. So that's one of them. And the other one was because my other option was Miss Preferred, but that was taken on, I think, TikTok. So then I was like, well, I'm the only like preferred because I don't have drag kids. So the only preferred. The next question is, where are you from? So I'm originally from Ozark, Alabama, which is 3 hours south of Birmingham, but I live in Birmingham, technically Hoover, but it has a Birmingham address, so we claim Birmingham. Anyways, but yeah, I'm from Ozark, Alabama, and I started doing drag in Dothan, Alabama, which is like 30 minutes south of Ozark. What's your zodiac sign? I'm an Aries. My birthday is March 21st. I'm the cusp of Aries and Pisces. Okay, so the next question is actually probably the one that I wish they would have like not done anonymous the most, because it's such a good question. But it says, what made you want to start the Preferred Stars? Do you have a favorite theme? So honestly, what made me want to start the Preferred Stars, I actually kind of mentioned it at the beginning. Since being in Birmingham, I've always wanted a show in Birmingham. Honestly, since I started doing shows and moved to Birmingham, I was like, I want to be a show director in Birmingham. And, you know, when it came to doing another show, I was like, I want to make it different. I want to make it quirky. Obviously, there are, you know, a few competitions in Birmingham already. And, you know, there have been in the past and there will continue to be. But I don't know. I wanted to make mine themed a little bit different. Have judges, you know, open the opportunities to people. Have it be as fair as possible. And do you have a favorite theme? Honestly, probably the one that's my favorite hasn't been announced yet. I'm really, really excited for this set theme, but to keep it fair and to answer the question, the one that has been announced that's probably my favorite is either Canton Stamped, because I love campy drag and I love a campy moment, and my number for that one was like one of my favorites to perform, or Mask. Oh, I almost said one. Yeah, Mask for Mask, which is the July one, and it's specifically for like drag kings or people who want to start to or dabble in drag, mask drag. So yeah, one of those two. And then, as mentioned, the one that has not been announced yet, that one's definitely probably my favorite. Have you ever done celebrity impersonations? No, I don't do celebrity impersonations at all. I don't know. I'm a theater kid. I like did a bunch of productions in theater. I would like say I'm pretty decent at acting. But when it comes to like taking a specific person and like reenacting that person, I'm not good at that. I'm not good at like learning their characteristics or anything. But I will say when I was in high school, I did a production of Bye Bye Birdie where I played the father, which was originally played by Paul Lynn, and I did a lot of his like aneurysms in that production. So I did a lot of that in there, which would technically be like impersonation, but also with Amy Winehouse and Our Founding Mothers. So technically I'll be dabbling with that. What do you see for yourself in the future? So I definitely see expanding my drag to other areas. That was definitely like a goal for the longest time, was to move out. But with the Preferred Stars, with me wanting to continue the Preferred Few and YouTube and, you know, supporting and exposing local drag of Birmingham, which is booming at the moment. Not club-wise, not yet, not for a few more months, but with, you know, drag people and drag personas, it is currently booming. So I definitely see myself staying here for a little bit longer. But yeah, definitely expanding my drag to other areas. Definitely, of course, you know, working on drag and doing bigger things. Maybe even another show, maybe a weekly show, who knows. But with all of those things to look forward to in the future, it's time to end this video. Honestly, I'm tired. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. There are no more questions. So make sure to follow me on all of my socials at The Only Preferred. You know, now you know the story behind the reason for the name. So at The Only Preferred for brand new looks. And who knows, maybe I'll even do some more of these like Q&As or question polls on my Instagram. So stay tuned for those, maybe possibly coming up in the future very, very soon. Also, make sure to follow the Preferred Stars page on Instagram and Facebook for brand new updates and themes to come from that. Literally right before I started recording this video, round 4, the Queer Icons Through the Decades one, literally had reached its limit and closed. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned because maybe someone will drop out or maybe someone who signed up will win the Broadway one. And yeah, you never know, a spot may open. So stay tuned on the Preferred Stars page for things of that sort. And also for the contestants for the round 3, Bring It to Broadway being announced actually this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for a brand new video on the channel every single Sunday. Usually every single Sunday. We've been a little busy, so sometimes it's been coming a little later. And comment below if you would like to see any more Q&A videos. But until next time, stay queer, stay preferred, and always stay ready for a slay.